You can see here a point cloud of a rock face behind the house. The roof of the house, this is on top of a covered patio area, is shown there. And there is a small landscape wall with soil in behind it located at the toe of the rock cut at this location, plus a small landscape wall that extends off of the rock face at this location. Rock has fallen from this rock face in recent years, and here's a few examples lying here, which originated from this area. And the jointed, blocky nature of this rock contributes to these rock falls. And this particular rock appears to be particularly prone to weathering processes. So there are a few existing rock bolts, but this is the closest one to this portion of the rock face. So I'd like to see some very aggressive scaling done to take away a good portion of this overhang, this loose rock up here, some of this rock right on this kind of edge of this planar face, and then moving across where the overhang occurs, pluck away loose blocks that are forming the overhang with the intention to try to make a little bit smoother rock face, because the ultimate goal is to cover this existing rock with a wire mesh drapery. So scaling all the way across, essentially from here all the way over to here. So these yellow lines show the approximate location of the intended upper wire rope that will hold the wire mesh, held by 1, 2, 3, 4 rock bolts. The lower yellow line is where a wire rope would be placed on top of the wire mesh, pulling it around and snugging it up against this overhanging portion of rock, held by probably about 4 rock bolts. And the wire mesh itself would go from the upper wire rope underneath this wire rope down to about a half a meter above the finished landscape elevation in the backyard. So wire mesh this whole area. The property line for this particular lot probably runs parallel to this roof line and very close to the roof line, possibly going close to this this one yellow dot and past this shrub. So these 2 anchor points would be on the neighboring lot, and we need approval from the neighboring lot owner to install those anchors, as well as to do some scaling in this area. After the scaling is achieved, I hope the geometry becomes a bit smoother here, but I would also want to see 1, 2, 3, 4 rock bolts placed to kind of help stabilize the overhanging section to prevent any very large pieces of rock from falling in behind the wire mesh drapery. So that's a current thought process for helping to mitigate the rockfall risk at this site. If I go further up this rock face, this area could benefit from some light scaling, and the scaled material can be left underneath these little overhangs, creating a kind of a conical buttress using the scaled material. But I wouldn't recommend placing any wire mesh here, simply because this portion of the rock face is quite a bit further away from the house itself, and the landscape feature here is wider. And so rocks that can come down are likely to more or less remain close to the toe of the rock face. So it's only where we get into the overhanging portion of the rock face where I think the rockfall mitigation is going to require bolts, wire mesh held by wire ropes. The mesh area to kind of cover this whole portion is approximately 100 square meters. You have 100 square meters of mesh, Teco mesh. You've got at least 8 rock bolts holding up wire ropes, and a further 4 rock bolts, longer ones, penetrating through the nose of this overhang.